Birds. Angry Birds is quite a phenomenon. They've sold 70 million downloads of their application, which, if you think about it, is an application sitting on a platform called an iPhone. They're not a plush toys. Okay, so you've got a franchise being built out of an application, out of a little bit of software, which sells for a couple of euros at the App Store, right? And look at this.
Dear friends, after too many years and too many victims, I believe we have reached an agreement that will put an end to the senseless conflict between you. The UN will guarantee the defense of the peace from any alien attack, while others will get most of their eggs back. Please, let's not spoil this joy moment. Please.
The world is a little upside down. Because what has happened in the past is that you've had movie franchises becoming toy franchises and maybe becoming games on an iPhone, right? Here you've got a case of an application which then suddenly becomes plush toys. That's not a movie, but there's talk of a movie being made pretty soon, okay? And the company behind this, by the way, 7.4 million views on YouTube, 27,500 likes, 642 dislikes. And the company behind this has just raised $42 million out of a little application. A little application. I see that doesn't need translation. Cool. I didn't want to say it. But seriously, WTF? What the hell's going on here? The world's upside down. The truth is, we were all educated before social media. Philip Kotler. Philip Kotler didn't tell us about that particular world. We spoke about another kind of world. In that world, these kind of things didn't happen. Ask Gaddafi. They say that the revolutions recently in Northern Africa originated out of social media, out of Facebook and out of Twitter. If you can't find Gaddafi, ask Mubarak. That's what he's saying to himself. WTF? What the hell's going on here? Social media, the whole phenomenon really starts with something called Web 2. With Web 2, what happened is that we suddenly saw the birth of the read-write web. Before that, the web was something that we surfed, we didn't shape it. With Web 2, we started shaping the web because it became interactive. And out of this, you had a little guy who celebrated his 26th birthday the other day on the 14th of May, to be precise. My ex-wife's got exactly the same birthday. And he created something called Facebook. How many people are on Facebook? Pretty much all of you. Pretty much all of you. Anybody tell me how many internet accounts there are around the world? How many people are connected to the internet worldwide? Anybody got a number to give me?
600 million.
600 million internet connections, right? Of what? Of Facebook. Man knows the answer before we got there. There are 600 million users of Facebook worldwide today. That is out of 2 billion internet connections. So do the math, it's pretty high. And they're saying by the end of the year, it's going to be 1 billion. In Norway, the number is 94% of the population are on Facebook. 94% of the population. Okay? The number in Cyprus is around, if I'm not mistaken, 370,000 subscribers. 370 was last week. Look at what's happening. I looked at this number a couple of weeks ago. See what's happening? It's spiraling. It's going out of control. But it's the tip of the iceberg. And I'm sure somebody today could be presenting this little circle over here. Am I right now? But each one of those little logos on there is a social medium. Right? And that's just under the water. Facebook's just the tip. And now you're going to say to me, yeah, okay, but who's going to go there? Well, guess what? They're also available on your iPhone. Of course, Samsung just launched the smart TV, which means it's on a TV screen near you too. Scary. Scary. And if you're not scared, you're not paying attention. Because it's scary. However, nothing in life is to be feared. It is only to be understood. When I was a kid, I was petrified by those movies. Then I understood they were movies. I understood. My fear disappeared. Okay? I'm going to try to make some sense out of what's happening in the digital world. To all of us who educated BSM, before social media. Basically what has happened is the following. Whoops, excuse me. That was weird. We used to talk about target markets and consumer demographics. We now talk about individual profiles. There is 600 million Facebook users who've got individual profiles. If you really want to, you can figure them all out. That's a huge difference from demographics with 3.2 children and an average weight of, on Facebook, they're fat people, thin people, you know exactly what they are. Standardization is being replaced by customization. For example, on the Nike site, you can order your own shoes. That's all Web 2. It's all interactive. It's all interactive web. Okay? It's all one-on-one. Mass advertising is being replaced by millions of micro conversations. It's no longer a broadcast thing. It's a two-way thing. Mass retailing is becoming the shopping experience. Okay? Even mass retailers are designing shopping experiences. The Apple Store. Mass research is resulting in real-time feedback. I question the longer-term need for research the way we know it today, when you've got almost the whole planet connected in social context. I question. Anonymous has become eponymous, nice Greek word, and powerless is becoming empowered. Big difference. Everything has changed. Everything has changed. Absolutely nothing has changed. What I'm describing on the right-hand side is the way the world has always been. Okay? Mass is the aberration. One-on-one is the convention. Our grandmothers lived in that kind of world. I want to introduce you to my neighborhood butchers. Nikos, Babis. Their father's name is Stelios, and the name of the butchery is Stelios Kleopolion. which for those who don't speak Greek means service or tree. Cold store, actually, right? Kereo or Leon. All right. These guys, I believe they've got the best meat in the whole of Athens. I am not a meat specialist, but I believe it. Not because they sell me, but because of the micro conversations I have with them. Okay? These guys have not studied marketing. They don't know what social media is, but they're people. It's in their nature to do what they do. And it's ironical that the world's biggest medium of all, called the internet, is bringing us back to what we really know how to do, is to be people. Okay? I walk in there, it's, hi, how are you? How's the dog? Been to South Africa lately? That's where I'm from. I've got a great filet for you. And before I know it, I've bought like much too much meat, much more than I need. I've walked out of there, and I'm very happy. I could have gone next door to the supermarket, to the mass retailer, got exactly what I wanted, spoke to nobody, kept to my own little private self, and walked back out again. That's a better experience. But these guys better be careful. If they ever sell me bad meat, the whole neighborhood's going to know. That's the way it's always been. Ask your grandmother. Ask your grandmother. The end goal of business is financial, and we should never forget this, but the business of business is social. It's a social activity. The end goal is financial. It's not about getting into social media. I really object to that. It's about getting back to social. And that applies to everything we do on social media. Because the technology is changing consumer behavior. And consumer behavior is everything. That's where you get your insights about how to go to market. It's the way it's always been. We all recognize that. Every village has got one of those. The Cafe Neon has been around for centuries. Well, today it's just called the like button. Anybody know what those are? Anybody know what platform that comes from? That's your excluded. Twitter. Okay, that's Twitter. Word of mouth has always been some of the strongest currency, and now we have word of mouth on steroids. That's a guy called Gary Vaynerchuk. He wrote a book called The Thank You Economy. I strongly recommend you read it. Strongly recommend it. It's not about the technology, it's about the behavior. Everything communicates. It's always been like that. It's even more important today. Everything you say, everything you don't say, everything you do, everything you don't do. That's what branding is all about. Branding is not about logos and advertising. It's about that. Exactly that. Babis and Nicosia get it. But there are two people, they're brothers. They know each other very well. They're very closely aligned. And my question to you is, how many yous are in your organization? And that's your big job, is to align everybody inside your organization. That's the branding job. Forget the logos. That's the signature. Anybody read that? Are you ready? By the way, that was a slogan we used on Sony PlayStation back in the US when we relaunched Sony. We had that as a slogan. The kids all got it. They all got it. Are you ready? So my question to you is, are you ready for that world that we've just been describing? Which is the world the way it's always been. Mass was the aberration. Mass was what went wrong. We're social. We're people. We've got human nature inside us. Just talking about Apple, I had the pleasure of working with Mr. Jobs. If anybody thought they were going to see a presentation by me without Apple inside, they're mistaken. I always got something. This is the old selling model. And most of us will recognize this because it's the way we go to market. Here we are, that's what we produce, we advertise it, we retail it, and consumers buy it. That's the Apple marketing ecosystem today. It's very different. What does red mean? What does red mean? It. Okay, I'm getting very close. This is an ecosystem. Up here you've got media, legislators, corporate buyers, educators, innovators, early adopters, early majority, third-party content owners, third-party developers. They all interact with each other. And like with Angry Birds, they build new franchises. Third-party content owners build new franchises. It's back to innovators, and the system feeds itself. This is social business. That's social business. Multiple channels, multiple screens. And internal alignment is key. I will not go through that. We don't have time. That's basically the branding model that I use to develop powerful conversation brands. I've done that work for the Bank of Cyprus. Sketch for Unit is something we created many years ago. And I think it's got exactly that. It's a conversation that happens around it. Sigma, I feel good. Mattel, I'm busy doing something for them right now, which is precisely what we're addressing, this whole change in consumer behavior, the way you go to market. Heineken, the Olympic Games, relaunch of the CFK Greece, and Limassol. Huge Limassol branding project going on. Some of you might have read about it. By the way, there's an article on the back page of that, which I think is in your pack, where you can see some of the thinking behind the Limassol brand. Thank you very much indeed.